So swimming in the docks, not a swimming pool. What, you just jump in the lake?
No, like
Lake?
so there's the River Mersey, and then just behind it there's like a sports centre. So most of the water that comes in is filtered to a certain point, so it's quite clean to swim in, really. But it's like a little area that you can swim in. I do know someone who just swam across from Liverpool to the Wirral though.
How far is
Um,
that?
I couldn't tell you. Like
Like
it's a while. It
English
took
Channel type or no?
no, I don't know. Geography is not my strong point. Like someone asked me where Iceland was, and I said it was down the road. I thought they meant the shop, not the actual country. No, it takes a while to get there. She did it in 3.5 hours, so it does take a while to swim across. But you can drive across it on a bridge, and it takes 10 minutes. So I just do that.
I was gonna say, okay, my geography's now being dog shit. I know where Liverpool is. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I didn't know there was a big like fuck off gap.
yeah. Between Liverpool and the Wirral, yeah. Or Liverpool and the Wirral, Birkenhead, Chester, that side, the dark side.
You
To be
Northerners, you amaze me sometimes with your lakes and stuff. What, do you know where I'm from?
somewhere down south, London area,
London, bang on. But if you guys on 10 points, if you can guess what part of London, you either go
Dagenham.
quite close. You can either go north, east, south, or west.
Oh, is Dagenham north, or am I just completely backwards with
East,
that?
eastish.
Hey. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Essex, but that's probably really like because I can hear the accent like, but I don't know, probably Dagenham, probably
Now,
somewhere.
it was a trick question. I'm southeast. There's a distinguishable difference between
Oh, I
east,
mean
south, and southeast.
you're
Yeah,
saying that, and I'm like, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I
Southeast
just know
London, but
station.
born in East London. Um,
Right.
so you know how like I was talking about before. I've been told you can only be a Scouser if you're actually born in Liverpool. I am a Cockney.
Right.
I was born within the bells. I hear the bells. Speak Cockney. I am a Cockney.
It's a very good accent.
But
It's very good.
thank you. But you got to be born in a certain radius, just like
Right.
just like Liverpool. So yeah. Do you know what? For the last couple of these, I'm not even introduced people. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sit Down for Stand Up. Having me, Hannah from Liverpool. How are we? Are we well?
I'm very good, thank you.
Lovely. So, reason for the pod is, it's your story. How did you get into comedy? Why did you get into comedy? Hopefully, people who don't do comedy can, learn a few of your tips and tricks. So, we'll start off with the easy one. How, why, when, where, who? We don't need the who because that's you. Did we get into comedy?
Uh, I'm trying to think back. It definitely came from my grandparents. My grandparents are very funny people. Um, I remember when I was a kid, a lot of the time that I spent with them, after we'd walk the dogs, obviously, we'd spend a lot of time just sitting in front of the TV and just watching classic British comedy, like Only Fools and Horses,
Standard.
Dance Army, all those. Morecambe and Wise. I was obsessed with Morecambe and Wise.
Okay.
But I think kind of the comedy stemmed from watching that as a kid and my family being very quirky. But I think it came more into when I started being an actor, when I got into acting, and I was always kind of put as the comical characters, and I always love that. I love the feeling of those characters. I love the kind of fact that there were so many layers to a comical character that, people look at a comical character and they go, you are just funny, you know what I mean? But actually, when you get really deep into it, it's a bit like, the saying of an onion, there's layers.
Mm.
Um, some of those comical characters are quite twisted or have snapped nerves, if that's the right way of saying it. So it kind of came through there and then it went into improv and now it's come through into stand up. So yeah.
Okay. And how different is sort of improv to the improv world to the comedy world?
Uh, it's different and then also very similar. It's similar in the fact that quite a lot of the stand-up timing is the same as what you would get in improv.
Right.
You can do the one-liners like you can do short form, and then you can tell stories in comedy like you can do long form in improv. So they have the similarities. And what improv gives you as a comedian is the opportunity to just turn on your heel and quite very quickly snap at something and pick something up quite quick. So, for example, you said before about emceeing, or about dealing with heckles, of which I've had a few.
I haven't
Um,
mentioned that yet, but that was something I was going to go straight into. So
yeah. And then also, playing a little bit, just having the freedom to express and be weird and live in that weirdness and not be worried, really. I think that's what's been good for me. I think the only downside to it, if any, is that you are on your own,
yeah, you're not be
you
no
know,
mates when you're a comedian, are you? At improv, you can
barely
like
no.
pick each other up.
Literally, you have a gang behind you on the back wall, and so you can feed off the energy of your scene partner, but obviously then, when you're doing stand up, you use the audience, you can feed the energy off the audience, and sometimes that's easier said than done.
100%.
But yeah.
I guess when you go to the audience, there is like a strong element of control, but there is also the massive element of unknown
Yeah.
of how they are going to react. So yeah, you said, you've dealt with a few hecklers in your time.
Yeah.
What were they? What were they like? What were they about?
Oh God, I'm just trying to think of more just I think it's sometimes it can be because of the material that you've got. Someone really likes something and gives you a heckle because they want to, have a say, and it's that self-expression of, yeah, I get that, that's
Yeah,
relatable, and you get that. And then sometimes there's people who are just there just to, it's a bit like hunting season. It's a bit like, what can I say that will really throw her off and make it more entertaining because she won't know what to do. Um, and with those moments, you've just got to sit back into it. You can't, I've found I used to take it quite personally and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm awful. But now I think the more I've done it and the more I've done through improv and so on, now I just kind of go, yeah, all right.
yeah,
And if you can give something witty back, great. And if you can ignore it and continue your set, great.
yeah.
And so there are ways of dealing with it. You've just got to know which ones you can approach and which ones you can ignore and which ones you can kind of play with the audience against what has just happened, if that makes sense. So it's
100%. Yeah, you've got to address it, divert it, joke back with it. But one thing you can't do is bitch out.
no, no.
Like, and yeah, some. I do. I've always personally say I think social media has had a big role to play in crowds and heckles because that's sort of like the clickbait stuff for online. So people have that go to comedy gigs and sort of that's how they think it should be. Where it's the
Yeah.
only sort of form of entertainment where the crowd will shout out.
Yeah, I mean, I had one heckle I just remembered now, and it was on a piece of material that I'm still using. I've not been scared away from it.
Yep.
But basically, I talk about this really bad date that I've been on, and at the end of the
Oh
date,
god, bad day, bad day. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Bad
yes,
day.
get out my phone, which my old phone cover was a Liverpool Football Club,
What? Sorry.
and Liverpool Football Club. That
Oh,
was
we
my
said
phone.
let's say a Liverpool butt plug. So same thing. Sorry. Also,
That
I'm
was just
Arsenal. Fuck Liverpool right now. So
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that
Well,
proudly.
Liverpool Book Club was the my screensaver, so that was all right. But yeah, Liverpool Football Club, that was my old phone case, and now I just have a really boring, mundane beige type one. It's rubbish.
Sounds
Um,
better in my opinion. Sounds better.
but his phone case was Manchester United,
Oh,
and I was in Manchester when I said this, and I had half of the audience go, "Yeah, Liverpool," and then the other half of the audience were like, "No," And this one guy called out, "Kill you!" like that, and I was like, okay, he's caught in the middle. He's clearly an Evertonian, feels a bit
yeah.
left
He's
and that's
Everton.
kind of what with that. But hearing someone shout, "I'm going to kill you" when you're on stage, you kind of go, "Oh, that's enough to make you want to not carry on." But I just picked from nowhere the Everton joke, and that kind of won, and that guy just sat back down. And but like I've heard of other comedians who've had similar, and they've kind of gone, "Yeah, not doing that anymore," or "Yeah, I just don't want to, pursue this anymore." But I just kind of think, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And what I've also found is 9 times out of 10, the majority of an audience is on your side. Like
Yes.
they want you to do well. They do want you to do well because we're not, not everyone's an idiot,
Yeah.
but for the minority who want to play and shout these things out, I had one audience member turn around and say, "Would you just shut up?" And I was like, "Let's not have an argument. It's not daycare. I'm a big girl. We can get over it." And then I pretended to cry. And that just made it quite funny for the audience. And I was like, "You hurt my self-esteem. I've got autism. Does that make you feel better?" Um,
I've
so
never
yeah,
understood
yeah,
how people can get so passionate about football that the fact that someone will says another team and it can enrage you. Like
yeah,
I've never like my joke I just did there. When I said fuck Liverpool. That's because you beat us 1-0 on Sunday. Like it's fresh. No, no, I got over it 10 seconds later.
yeah.
Like
It's
I was at
not,
football, politics, and religion are the three things just to stay away from. I think like just
yeah,
like the juice is never worth the squeeze unless it's like universally joked at, like Starmer right now.
yeah.
Like I've got no material on him yet, and I'm annoyed about that. Like this is quite. I've said so. Why did you decide to go from improv to comedy?
Um, Really, it was just to try something new and something that I've been told many times. It's a challenge. You will, like, it's like Marmite, you'll either love it or you'll hate it. And I think because I'd done improv for so long, and I remember I was at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in 2023,
Okay.
23, yeah, in an improv troupe, and we did improv Shakespeare. And part of the time that you're in Edinburgh,
So,
yeah.
what's so? How does that work?
So the
Improv
premise
Shakespeare.
was we were playing, there's five of us and a musician, or four of us and a musician, if
Yep.
I remember. And so the premise was that Shakespeare doesn't turn up, obviously. I wonder why. Strokey beard moment. And so we, as his players, have turned up to do a show that he was meant to have written for us in the time of King James, I think it was.
Okay.
And
Cool. Yeah.
Shakespeare doesn't turn up. So we turn to the audience and we get a suggestion of a time period, something that happens, a dilemma, I think it was, and then a name. And then we basically say that one of the audience members is the king. And so we've got to put on then a five-act play in the space of about 50 minutes, I think it was, near an hour, with all five acts using both Shakespeare language
That's
and
I was.
modern language.
I say doing
Naturally,
Shakespeare language. Fuck me. That's a challenge on its own.
yeah.
Uh,
So, so
where
yeah, we
far out?
actually,
I can't even pretend to do it. To be honest. I mean, I do say I think Shakespeare is one of the most hated person in this country due to have being forced to study it in secondary school or high school up north.
you see, I loved it. I loved doing Shakespeare in school more than I loved doing English literature or learning about the Bronte sisters or whatever else they were of Mice and Men. Although I did enjoy that.
I liked Mice and Men, but I think I had to do Taming of the Shrew was my
Yeah.
Shakespeare, and Mice and Men and Holes were my books.
Holes, that's so good.
It's a good banging book, isn't it?
It is really good. Yeah, I had to do 12th Night, which I loved. And then because there was no opportunity for me to do drama in high school, secondary
Okay.
school, I went to a performing arts school outside of, I'm going to say secondary school because it sounds a bit better, doesn't it? I went to a performing arts school outside of secondary school, and I did the equivalent exams to a GCSE in this drama school. And so not only was I having to do 12th Night in school, I was doing Titus Andronicus, which is a heavy play, heavy play. Lots of blood and dead gore, people being made into pies, as you do.
Love it, as one
Um,
does.
it's great if you're really into that sort of stuff, even if you don't know what's going on, check it out. Um, so I had to do that. So I did 12th Night and then Titus Andronicus and then As You Like It as well. So I had like three Shakespeare plays to
Oh.
look at. I was in heaven. I loved it, along with some contemporary stuff as well.
I mean, that was
Even
before Audible, so like I can't stand. No, actually, that's a lie. I fell in love with reading probably about mid 20s.
mm,
But before then, I hated it. Um, yeah, like I've never been a fan, but when you find something you're passionate about, you don't mind sort of going into it as much. So being an actor, when it comes to writing your comedy, do you like? Well, let me just rephrase. How do you go about writing a joke?
oh, you see, I know everyone has different ways of doing it. I started off with So a lot of my comedy is things that happen in my life or have happened in my life or things that I notice and then just
Okay.
bring into stage. So it's things that people can relate to, you know. I always feel like audiences like to be in a room with a comedian that you can relate to. So things like the price of a Freddo or, you know, something like
Yeah.
that. Anything along those lines where people can go, yeah. Um, that sort of thing. So I tend to either if I see something and I know I can make something out of it, if something very random happens, then I'll just get my phone out and I'll just voice record what I've seen. And then I kind of heighten all the situations. Like, for example, we spoke about a bad date before.
Yeah.
I'll heighten and theatricalize, if that's a word,
Mhm.
that date just to make it a little bit more kind of theatrical and over the top. And you kind of go, there's no way that happened, but actually it did. I'm just escalating it to a point where you're going, that's slightly unbelievable and therefore it's funny. But
Mm.
saying that, you probably do know someone who is that much of a weirdo or that much of a extrovert with general awkwardness. Or I like to make the newest thing is making inanimate objects real. Um, so it's like, can you make your car a real person? Well, yes, you can, because my car has sensors on it
Mm.
and it's got severe anxiety because of that reason. And so I always make a joke about my car having anxiety, or, you know, when I do an impression of it, or the fact that I do open water swimming and recently went swimming completely nude on a beach. Never done it before, but I did. And so I was taking the mick out of some crabs that they're just under the water and look up and be like, I didn't know it was the evening, there's a full moon, you know, that kind of thing.
But no,
Um,
I love that. Like, my car's a Renault Zoe, so I call her Zoe, and I always say, "Oh, she's got a fat ass." Because yeah, yeah, do you, okay, I love
bullet points is a big one for me. Bullet
that.
points. I just bullet point things and then go from there.
Okay, fair enough. See, I'm a script writer myself. Like I haven't got the confidence to just go up and with a premise and a punchline. I have to write it all out. And yeah, when it comes to my writing, I never sort of sit down and write. I tried to, and I failed miserably. I find like sometimes you can go weeks without writing anything, but then all of a
Mm.
sudden like it just hits you, and then you just need to write it down straight
Yeah.
away.
I mean,
Like
I did a show a while ago and I had nothing ready. And that's not me being lazy. That was me actually coming in with a bit of a challenge as could you go to a show with nothing and make something out of nothing? Could you just see what happens on your way there? Did anything funny happen or could you make anything, could you make a small thing out of and I did and it went down really well. So that then suddenly that about 10-minute worth of being on stage and doing this almost completely improvised
yes,
stand up that went straight into my set book and now that is an actual set. um would I do that again every single time? No, because it was terrifying. But it was just another way. And I think you have to challenge yourself a little bit when it comes to comedy. I think if you play it safe all the time, your work will get stagnant or you'll get a little bit rusty. You've got to kind of keep yourself like,
yeah. Like, do you
you know,
get bored of your own jokes?
I get bored of myself.
Hmm.
So yeah, sometimes, or I'll kind of that one, I go, oh, I've heard that too many times now. That's
Yeah.
not fun.
It
Even
stops
though I
becoming funny
know,
to yourself because you've said it so many bloody times.
yeah. My only concern with that is I'll lose the snap of it. I'll lose that bit of timing because you said it so many times. And you're getting bored of it, and your audience may have never heard it before, and they're going to
Yeah.
find it funny. But because you've said it 100 times, or quite a bit as part of your set, I always get concerned that I'm going to say the line and then just miss that second of a timing, and it's not going to hit, it's not going to land. So I mean, I do have a set at the moment which I am on repeat because it's just easy for what I am doing and so on. But when the newer material starts coming in, I know that that old material will then sit there, and then if I come back to it, it's going to be new again. It's not going to be like something I'm going to go, oh, I don't want to do that. It's just something I can pick up and go, especially when you're doing something like Beat the Frog, Frog and Bucket, because the person before you could have a set that's very similar. You don't want to go on and do a set that is literally the same as the person before because they've seen that. It's boring.
Mm.
So having something in your arsenal, um, not so much the football team, but
Uh,
yeah. But something there for you to just grab onto is quite important, I think.
100, yes, like I said, have enough stuff in your arsenal so you can sort of mix it up. But that sort of just comes with like time and experience. Like I said, like my open and my close are pretty much always the same now, but I
Mm.
mix up in between. But the a problem I have is that where I've done my sets now so many times, I'm not getting bored of them. But I listen to other comedians, and obviously you've never heard their perspective, so you're like, oh my god, they're great. I'm shit. But that's only because you've never heard it before.
Mm.
And I always get like that 10-second self doubt before you go on stage. Like, wait a minute, am I actually funny? Is this going to be awful? And there's like, and then they laugh, and then you're like, wait, why are you laughing at this? This is awful. And then you're like, oh wait, maybe I am funny. And then
So I always find it interesting when people laugh at the bits that aren't funny.
the
The
unexpected ones.
you're not expecting them to laugh at because you just think it's part of. I had once just someone just to get a group just laugh at nearly everything I was saying, and I was like, "Is there something on my face?" Because
Yeah,
clearly, I was like, why?" And I didn't question it. In my head, I was going, "This isn't funny. This is like getting to it." But you're finding it. And then I found at the end, they found what was happening was the pace of which I was saying it was slightly panicked and not because I'm meaning it to be, but because I was kind
yeah,
of rushing through it. It was a bit like I needed to get to the, and they found that quite funny. And one of them said, "You sounded like a hyperventilating squirrel on drugs," and I was
brilliant.
like, "Yes,
That was exactly what I was going for.
that clearly."
But you said earlier, you sort of observationist, like you'd like to relatable things. I I love comedy where you can. I'm being guilty here. I think observation storytellers are the best comedians. Going to throw that out there, not just because I'm one myself, but I think they are the best. But I love when you learn something about a comedian as well. Like when they just do a whole set about like dating apps or I don't know ex partner, like that, I like to learn a bit about the comedian, something that's a distinctive thing about them. So I feel like I get to know them a little bit more.
Mm, yeah, definitely. Um, One thing that I say in my sets, and I'm very clear about it, I'm a neurodiverse person, and I'm quite open about it because I think if you're not, people might not forgive you. I think you need forgiving, but like they may not see something from your perspective as much. So I have ADHD, I have autism and ADHD. It's not severe, it's very small. But I do sometimes say that, not all the time, but only sometimes in my set, because then it makes when I talk about the fact that sometimes I can be very literal, it makes it funnier when I actually get onto the bits where I have mistaken something and gone quite literal with it. But yeah, I always find that when you can watch a comedian and just find something that you really like about them, whether it's something that you can relate to. I mean, I fell in love with Joe Pasquale.
Okay,
Joe
calm, yeah.
Pasquale. Yeah, yeah. I fell in love with him for the voice. And I think that's what a lot of people fell in love with because he's got a very high-pitched voice. But then I fell in love with Lee Evans for the fact that he always wore a suit on stage and sweat. And there was another comedian,
Profusely sweat. That's
oh,
not
a
just
lot.
sweat. That's next level
Yeah,
sweat.
that is pool sweat. That's
Yeah.
pool sweat.
You were
Um,
swimming in that earlier. All right.
Literally swimming in Lee Evans' sweat.
Salty. When
Um,
when you've like named these absolute like brilliants,
yeah.
we've all watched all their stand ups online and stuff. Before you got into doing comedy, did you think oh that's easy, and then you was really taken back by how good the level is of even like open mic comedians?
Yeah, you take it for granted. You kind of watch these guys who've been doing it for years and go, I can do that. I've been told it's hard. How hard can it be? And then you
Yeah,
get there and you're like, oh my God, this is terrifying. I think, again, coming back to the improv, I think the only reason why I've not really been as scared as I probably would have is because I've come from an improv background. And the acting background. But there are still times where I watch comedians at open mics or at gigs, and they're not well known, but I think, no, you should be because you are really good. Like how you come up with this stuff and how you delivered that line and how you went from this to that, and in such a, like it's mesmerizing and it's mind blowing, and you just think like, how can I be that good? Like how can I do that? And the result is always the same. It's get out and do more of it.
yeah.
Find where you fit, find what comedian you are, and find who you're going to be known as. I love doing character work as an actor. improv always brings character work into it. Stand up, not a lot of character work goes into it at all. It's mainly
No, unless you're a
sheer
character
self.
comedian.
Yeah, but for me, I think I've only done one or two characters actually. I've not done a lot. I think I might bring it back a little bit and try some, but
Bring him back.
it is hard. What?
He said bring him back.
Him, but yeah, I played a male character at one point.
Oh, fun! As what, on stand up.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, he was called he was called Harvey Pisserbottom.
Okay, he
And
sounds like a right gentleman. Tell me about Harvey Pisserbottom.
yeah, so he's a Welsh guy who lives small Anglesey of a small island of Anglesey, which is where I absolutely adore. And he owns a basically a burnt down barn,
Of course
which
he
may
does.
have been set on fire by himself at some point. He's renovated it into a cottage and he sells it to people as like an Airbnb, but it's like really bad for wind. It's got like nothing around it. There's no heating. There's like no water. And he's always saying like, oh, if you do, by the way, if you do take this place in, like, just make sure you're at the back of the cottage when the tide's coming in because you're gonna get wet, like,
Uh,
that kind of thing. Um, and yeah, people kind of really liked that character a lot. And I like to play with voice and so on and so forth as well. Like I get stuck in accents a little bit in my everyday life just to make things a bit more interesting. Um, so for example, I can't go to my local petrol station without being American. I've sewn that in
oh,
now.
you've okay, brilliant. Love that. Love that.
Yeah, I've
See,
sewn
I
it
can't
in.
do accents. Every accent ends up going back to Indian. Like Liverpool, Packle of Cliffs. I'm from Liverpool, but if I keep on going to Liverpool, I keep on go. I don't know. It's still in there. I just can't do them.
You
Like,
sounded slightly Irish, where that would actually be all right, to be fair, because there's a very big Irish community in Liverpool. So that was all right. I'll give
yeah,
that
I
to
mean,
you.
yeah, I would
That
never fucking come up to Liverpool and even attempt an accent. Like, but it was weird. When I worked in Malaysia, when I was between 19 and 21, I worked with a guy from Liverpool, a guy from um, Belfast, a South African, an American, and a Scotsman. And my accent, the London accent, was the only one the locals couldn't understand.
really.
Yeah.
Oh,
So when they
wow.
say, like London's Queen English, it's really fucking not. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
not that pronounced pronunciation, is it? It's the Cockney.
yeah. We drop so many fucking letters and we chuck vowels in random places. Like, yeah, we're sort of we're we're all for that. So, doing your stand up, what's a joke that when you wrote it at the time you thought was good, thought was brilliant, and now you look back, you think, why the fuck did I think that was funny?
Oh God, it would be in my early stuff, won't it? Um,
I hope it's not the last thing you wrote.
yeah, it's the one I'm going with tonight. Um, God, I don't know. I don't know. I think I always, I'm just trying to think of something. I always write in the purpose that if it makes me laugh and I've got a really weird sense of humor, it'll probably make other people laugh because it's so unfortunate, put it that way.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that. I like people who write comedy for themselves. I mean, the first ever bit of advice I got given, and I never took it on board, and I'm so happy I didn't, was you need to write more generic jokes to please everyone. Someone advised me to do it, and I never took it on board. I was like, no, I want to joke about what I want to joke about.
mm,
And yeah, I'm so glad I never took that advice. So I love it when people write for themselves and they find it funny. And if you find it funny, there'll be enough people out there who will enjoy it.
yeah. Oh, I remember. It was I it's just suddenly come back to me. I used to work as a horse riding instructor.
Brilliant.
So that was one of my jobs, part and full time, whilst trying to balance all the performance work that I wanted to do. Life of an actor, solid.
Yeah.
And I basically said that it went through the set of being along the lines of, if you take the word horse away from horse riding instructor, you're basically a riding instructor. And then I went on to say, sign me up, Pornhub. It'd be the best bit of casting that I've ever had. And it landed and then it suddenly didn't. And I was like, wow. I find that, is it the way I'm saying it? Is it the timing is off? Or is it the fact that it just doesn't work or make sense? And so I had to kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit with it. And after I did, and this is the joy of open mics as well, I have to say, because that this is where you work your material and you go, okay, so that didn't work, but I like it. So let's spin this, try it again. And I span it around and I tried it again. I got more laughs from it. But then in the end, I thought, you know what? I don't know if this is still working. And so I dropped it because there were other things that I could talk about that were funny and relatable for
Yeah.
people who've ever worked with being around or even done horse riding. You know, that there is always something funny about that. So that little bit went. And I was quite gutted because, as you said, you know, it's fun when you can write and make yourself laugh, and that always used to make myself laugh. But then actually, what replaced that was 10 times funnier, and the audience were more on it. So I was like, okay, so that's got to stay because that's got to go. One
Yeah.
door closes, another door opens. You know.
Yeah. Some things are funny, but some things are funnier.
Yeah.
Don't that's the word. Yeah, completely agree to that. So, how many times would you sort of try a joke before you either like bin it off or like revamp it?
I give myself the three joke
Rule of
rule.
three. Okay.
The rule of three. So if I try it once and I get a good reaction, good times. If I try it again and I get a good reaction, good times. If I try it a third time and it doesn't, it stays because twice it's made people laugh, once it hasn't. Um, if it's the other way around and I get like it's like a no, no, and a yes, it still goes. Do you know what I mean? So I play with the rule of three as a concept of something you do in comedy is a bit of a recall and it's always funny. But then I use the rule of three in terms of jokes as well. If it lands twice, great. It'll probably land again. And if it doesn't land twice, it's gone.
Yep.
You
No,
know.
completely. Three times, three different rooms, and get the evaluation. Well, like in this day and age, do you think you can joke about anything?
Uh no. Oh, that's a hard one. I'd like to think so. I like to think that you can, because there are comics that push it, but it's finding that line, isn't it? It's finding that how far can you push it before it becomes problematic? Um, I'd love to be like Ricky Gervais. I have to put it out there because he doesn't give a flying moo. Like he just doesn't care. I've watched some of his shows on Netflix and I've sat there and gone, how does he
Well,
get
his
away with
stand
it?
up or his TV series ones?
It's well, probably both, but no, more of his stand up, to be
Oh,
honest with
okay.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's my hero. Yeah, news, fame, monster, politics, fame, monster, politics, zoo, and then his American one, which was dog shit.
Yeah.
Like his latest one's wank. Like I wasn't a fan of it. But Ricky Gervais is one of my heroes. So
Yeah.
like he's one of the reasons I got into comedy. So completely agree. Like
I think the gender side of it as well. I hate to play the gender card. I feel
gone.
like he can get away with it because he's a guy. So some of the stuff that he talks about, you kind of go, "Ooh," you know, and he'll come back and go, listen, you know, it's a joke. What I've just said is funny. It's a joke. And if you find it wrong, it's your problem, no one else's.
One hundred
But I
percent.
think
100%. Yeah. That's why there's no such thing as punching down.
exactly. And you learn that in improv as well. There's no such thing as punching down.
Yeah.
Um,
Adam Bloom taught me that.
yeah.
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 I've had him on. Like, and,
Say that again.
I've had Adam Bloom on the pods and he taught me that. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as punching down in life, like because if they get offended by it, they instantly then become the problem in society because they are disabling freedom of speech. So no longer you're punching down; it does a 180.
Yeah. It's like when you say what kind of audience members prefer what kind of set. And I've heard this a lot. Your younger generation, they will, what was it? The older generation don't or may not like smutty stuff.
Yeah,
But then the older generation have let go a lot. And so they may not care. They might find it funny or might have had a
yeah,
joke previously with someone in the pub. And then the younger generation, they are hard to hit because they're at that point of saying, I don't really care. Why do we care? And then that's completely unacceptable. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard hitting the right audience with the right material and knowing where you can go with it and knowing what is the line and what's not. And that's why I bring it to Ricky Gervais, because when I watch his stuff, I'm thinking he's going to have so many different audience members, old, young, in the
yeah,
middle, different genders, different places, wherever. But his set is still going to hit. And if they like it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. And you know what? If they don't like it,
yeah. Fuck
whatever.
them. 100%. Fuck them.
Yeah.
I mean, like my comedy is a lot of misdirections. So like
Yeah,
I have gay jokes, Shria law jokes. None of them are offensive, but they look like I'm about to be offensive.
yeah,
So I get that. Oh, we're in the sea. Oh, what's he gonna say? Oh, but they're never offensive. But my thing, one of the things I love doing is like de-ammonizing them. So before I tell my Sharia law joke, I'll do it real quick. Is so Muslim Sharia law under Islam. If you're caught with a Muslim girl behind closed doors, you've either got to marry him or you get arrested. Yeah, nice and simple. I had a Muslim girlfriend. I always fucked her with the door open. It's nice, cheap, and cheap, but it's not offensive. But it looks like I'm about to be offensive. I always, before I do that joke, I always look around the room and go, before I tell my Muslim joke, I'm not looking for Muslim people. I'm looking for white women in their 30s ready to be offended for their sake.
yeah,
And then if
yeah,
they can't get offended, then because they're notifying that they are the problem, and most of it is people getting offended on other people's behalfs in comedy,
yeah.
and that absolutely winds me up. So you said, a man could get away with that joke, a woman couldn't. Um, how do you find it? Would you say comedy? This is a man's world, or would you say, who runs the world, girls?
I love to be Who Runs the World. Obviously. Um, it's very male dominated. The world is very male dominated, I think is the right way of putting it. Acting's very male. Yeah, it is. And I'm only saying this from a point of view that not every, but most of the comedy that I've been to, there have been more male than female
Oh
comedians.
yeah,
And
a six person bill, five men, one woman. That's pretty much industry
that was
standard, unfortunately.
that was literally me
Yeah.
doing a gig about a week ago before I went on holiday. Um, so I think it is very male dominated, but I think that it's a good thing in a way because it is a bit of like a release when a woman gets on stage because you've just had all these men doing whatever, and then you get a woman on, it's a bit like, oh, something different. But I mean, put it this way, I went to see a show, I wasn't in it, but I went to see a show and there were a load of male comedians and then a comedian. And it was quite dirty, the show. Like a lot of what was being spoken about was about sex and whatever, because they're always funny. And one guy spoke about a blowjob, and
Standard. Yep.
then yeah, and then this girl came on and she spoke about something very, very similar. And
Disgusting. I'm joking, I'm joking.
exactly.
I was doing the hypocrisy.
And
Spatty
right at the
woman.
beginning, during the interval of this show, sitting in the bar with my friends, and we're having a chat about, everyone we'd seen, and this woman goes past and goes, "Yeah, they're all really funny. I don't know about that woman though. I don't think it was appropriate that she
What?
said
Yeah.
those things." And I'm like, "But that's not the first time I've heard that, and it's not the first time that I have been told that." Be careful what you write, Hannah, because most people are going to accept sexual innuendos from men and not so much from women, because there's a stereotype that women have to be clean. And I'm like, fuck off.
Oh, completely agree. I mean, one of the ones from I think it was like episode 8 I did on this with Malike. She said that it was only in 2023 Netflix got rid of the category uh, women comedians.
Yeah.
It was its own fucking segment bracket, and it's a whole bunch of, like, oh, what is okay. I'm gonna play devil's advocate on this. Yeah, actually, see, I don't cut anything. I could look like the biggest prick in the world here, but I don't cut anything. So, what is female comedy?
The same as male comedy.
Fucking good answer. There you go. Exactly. Funny's funny. You can joke about anything. The only thing I always say, and I always say, is when it's the punching down thing, can you joke about anything? You've always got to be aware of the persona you give off on stage. I write fantastic racist jokes. Mwah, amazing. I'll never do them on stage because I know the persona I give off. I'll send them to like my black mates, my black comedian mates. I'll be like, look, try if there's anything there, work with it. I just never want to de-filter the creative process. So,
Yeah.
I mean, funny's funny, but I'm aware of how I look and what I give off on stage, so I'll never do them. But
Especially when you're like, I think it's like, because I know people who are coming into stand up now, in a very similar path to what I've come down through the improv comedy. And they, oh my God, I forgot what I was about to say. What were we talking about?
uh,
This is where the ADHD isn't helpful.
and that's right. So you're talking about like persona you're giving off on stage. I think you're going to go down the road of trying to be edgy for the sake of being edgy, maybe.
Yeah, it was something like that. So,
Yeah.
oh no, I remember. I'm so sorry. So, ding, light bulb.
Light bulb.
So,
Yeah, cool.
the young people coming in now, or just general people coming in now, trying to do comedy, and I had a friend of mine who's just started, and one of the things that he said was he doesn't want to make a bad name for himself by being a certain kind of comedian,
Yeah.
and he doesn't he likes sexism. He likes those sexism jokes. He thinks they're funny.
Yeah.
I personally don't. Sometimes they are if they're done properly. Most of the time, I'm going, no, that's not funny. But he sent me his first set, and it basically just obliterated women. And I turn around and went, you're worried about what you're going to come across as. Okay, there's going to be a good percentage of that audience that are going to be women. So
Have
be
you just
careful.
written Reform's manifesto?
He's definitely a Nigel Farage bull sucker. Like he's definitely one of them.
But
Um,
I was like with being edgy,
mm,
and I say this legit every single episode now. You need to earn your stripes before you come
yeah,
edgy. You need to have
yeah.
a name to be edgy because you wrote you might wrote the greatest sexism jokes since the dawn of man. Handmaiden's Tale, love you, but no one knows you. You don't
Mm,
know what persona you're giving off, and you're not probably justifying it in the correct way. So, and also, you could have wrote, and this is one I always stress: no one has ever told a comedian what they can or can't joke about. You have gone upstage and chosen to talk about that. You could talk about frogs, caterpillars, the rain. You've decided to be sexist. No one's told you to.
hmm.
That is how you're going to come across. You could joke
Yeah.
about whatever you want, but beware of the consequences.
Yeah. You see, I know I'm not known in I probably am to a degree, but I'm not famous. I'm not someone who's, the next rising star or whatever you want to call them. I'm someone who enjoys doing stand-up, who wants to do stand-up, who wants to get somewhere like everybody else does.
Yes.
But because I don't have a name and I know that there's certain things that I can't push and there's certain things that I wouldn't push.
Mm.
If I was suddenly well known and I was getting paid gigs all the time and I was out there and people know you by your face and whatever else, then I'd probably get a bit more edgy with it because I'd be like, yeah, no, so these people are going to follow me and they're going to understand it because they know who I am
Yeah,
and they
I
know where
have
I've
my
come
people.
from. Yeah, they know where
Yeah.
I've come to where I am now. They know what I've done up to now, and then I've got a bit of a following.
Yeah.
I know that John Bishop has just done Frog and Bucket
Yes, I
for
saw that picture.
BBC One because he was there on Monday. When I was at Creatures, I was literally down the road. I was
Hey.
gutted. So he's been working on stuff because I follow him on social media as well because he's another great one for storytelling and so on.
I've reached out
And
to him. He hasn't got back to me yet.
oh, I'll give him a ring. I'll ring his doorbell.
Yeah.
Uh, somewhere in Liverpool.
Start
I
knocking, yeah.
know.
Start at
No,
1A and,
yeah, I know. But yeah, he's been round about, so he's now got new material. He's going to go on a big tour. He's got that audience following him. You know what I mean? So he's posting little bits as he's going. I
yeah.
post pictures of where I've been, not
Yeah.
so much where I'm going, because I don't know where I'm going, but I know where I've been.
But then
You know what I
also,
mean? So
John Bishop is brilliant. Do not get me wrong. John Bishop is brilliant.
I love him. I think he's amazing.
A lot of them are brilliant. The best comedians are still the circuit level comedians, and I know John Bishop is one of them because if you go to watch a comedian and they know your name and stuff, the fruit's a lot lower. I
Mm,
mean, like jokes will be laughed at that maybe didn't deserve it, but the people who can make people laugh day in day out and they don't know you, that is the truest art form,
yeah,
in my
100%.
opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Um, what I love is, for example, I had someone at Creatures say to me, "Oh, I saw you such and such a place,"
Mm.
and it was the same set, but I loved it, and I loved it the second time round. I was like, "Oh," and they were like, "Can I have your photo?" And I was like, "What? Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Uh, and I was like, "It's so humbling." I mean, it's like one person, but it's so humbling.
No, I do.
You
I
can't
do.
take that for granted. It's
I
so
do.
lovely.
I've never been recognised by a member of the public. I'll be honest, but I am sort of becoming quite well recognised amongst other comedians.
Yeah.
like because of
Which
this
is just as
podcast
good.
and stuff. Like people like are now other comedians are knowing my face, which is like quite
Yeah,
like quite cute. Because
yeah.
I'm a nobody. Like Joe, I mean I'm below a nobody, but it is nice and it's sort of self gratification. And one thing I do love about comedy, like okay, if you was in your local pop band, I don't know why I said pop band, you would never be able to meet Taylor Swift or Beyonce. I don't know why they were my go tos. But when you're a comedian, you do come affiliated with quite big names quite quickly. Like you see them on the circuit a little bit, and they're just nice, normal people.
Yeah, yeah.
Most
Uh,
introverted as well. Most are introverted.
oh God, yeah. Very, very quiet.
Mm.
Um, I, um, yeah, I know Hot Water is a really big place. It's a big place anyway in Liverpool. It's one of the biggest comedy clubs there is. But that's where you will find a lot of very well-known comics just
Yes.
chilling out.
Well, you
And
got Jamie Hutchinson, haven't you?
yeah, we've
Yeah.
got Chris Rock on this week as
Who?
well. Chrissy Rock.
Oh, okay. No, I said Jamie Hutchinson because I'm interviewing him tomorrow.
Oh, fair. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Big gang names. Right.
yeah,
He's fucking brilliant. He is. Right.
yeah.
But he's one of them ones. He'll say whatever the fuck he wants. Some people just are just uncancelable, but then I don't think cancel culture, you know, is a thing. You know.
Mm.
So okay. So I like asking this one. Sorry, asking this one then. So I'm on the Monjano jabs, and I'm on the egg burps at the moment.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well, I was on them. They've now gone up. It was 170 quid. They're now 310. Ridiculous. I'm going back to cocaine. Much cheaper. You lose weight on both of them. You know, like. Oh, wait. What the hell was I about to say there? Oh,
It's
yeah.
a lot better
What's the
on
word?
cocaine.
Pardon?
I heard the ride is a lot better on cocaine than
The right, yeah,
Manjaro.
it is the fall though. It's fucking awful, to be honest. Yeah. So what's the worst thing you've seen someone do on stage? Not yourself, someone.
Oh, um, a joke that didn't land that they expected to land and it threw them off
Okay.
and they just forgot the whole set and tried to bring it back by talking to the audience but had nothing to go off. Like they bombed it basically. And they just couldn't bring it back. And I felt so sorry for them. It was like part of me just wanted to shout out something that they could, you
Yeah.
know,
Knock knock.
that they could clip onto. But
Mm.
yeah, it was coming to the end of the 10 minutes they were doing. But it's hard when you bomb out on stage and it's
Yeah.
hard to get back. And it's hard sometimes if someone really throws you with a heckle or you forget your line or you forget the punchline, um, that's hard to come back from. I think you've got to be able to twist yourself into a different shape to be able to deal with that. I mean, I've had to do it. I've bombed twice, and that was when I first started, and I've not. That was about half, no, longer than half a year ago now. And luckily, touch wood, it's not happened since. There's been wobbles, but there's always going to be wobbles, and it's
Yeah.
mainly when something takes me completely by surprise. And it's always coming from the audience. Or actually, on one occasion, I was in a theatre doing it, and one of the front of house staff dropped a plate with a load of glasses on it,
Brilliant.
and it just smashed everywhere. And everyone kind of looked and then looked at me for something to say.
Yeah.
And I just went, well, that was like the fucking Titanic, wasn't it? Like,
Oh,
and I,
it's the easy. That's the easiest way. Way I'm smashing it.
yeah, but
That's
that was the joke. But then the thing was, I felt really sorry for the front of house. So I actually took the microphone off stage and went and helped them clean up. And then part of my set then was just very awkwardly talking to the front of house about what had happened and do they need help.
live
And
interviewing him.
yeah, like doing like a running commentary as part of my set. And it works. And someone came up to me like, that was really bloody clever. And I was like, you know what? That could have either worked or not worked. But
Yeah.
luckily, most people who work front of house and theatres, they all have some kind of theatrical background. There's only one or two that don't. So
Yeah.
it was funny because of the reason that the person was able to clip onto it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, working in hospitality, you could tell when someone else has worked in hospitality. Like I owned a pub. Every I'm in a bar, I'll always take my empty glass back to the bar. It's just like the standard things because like that just saves people, time. And I always appreciate that when a customer brought their empty pint glass back because I'm a lazy bastard, to be honest. So, go on. I'll do two more then. What's been I think you just done the bombed moment though. So, what's been your favourite moment on stage?
Oh, my favorite moment on stage. You know what? It's going to be that improvised set that I spoke
Yeah.
about because it was such a challenge and it was such a driving into Manchester going, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Get your book out, try and do something now, or take an old set and remind yourself of it, or just, and it didn't. And just being able to take something that actually had got pulled over by the police because I went into a bus lane, and Manchester's very, very big on keeping out of bus lanes, whereas in Liverpool it's like, who
Yeah,
cares?
London, I don't really cares that much.
Nah,
Everyone in
Liverpool's just,
London's 20 now because
yeah,
Sadiq
Liverpool's
Khan
just
is a
like,
prick.
Liverpool's just like bus lanes equals motorbikes, cars, and everything else,
Yes.
you
Fast
know.
track. Fast, fast.
But Manchester's really on it, so I got pulled over by a policeman, and so my whole joke was the fact that I was able to get out of a ticket because I saw this guy had a Star Wars tattoo on his wrist,
Oh,
and
what type?
it was the Millennium Falcon. It went all the way down the inside of his arm, and then it
Okay.
twisted. It was like a sleeve. It was quite good,
A
but he
Star
had
Wars
like
man.
shortish sleeves on, so I kind of saw the inside of the Millennium Falcon, and then I saw he had some characters up his front of his arm. But Yoda was there, and
Okay,
and
respect the Yoda. I mean, I would respect a Star Wars tattoo if I knew at what part of Star Wars they got it. If they got it in the
yeah,
70s, 80s, 90s, respect. If they got it after that, you know what, Phantom Menace, yeah, no.
the brand new one right at the very top where his sleeve was just cutting, and I could have sworn it was K2SO and from Rogue One, and I got a little bit excited because it's one of my favorite characters.
Really?
Um,
No, Rogue One, I thought that was all Wait, what one was Rogue One?
Rogue One
Is that the
was
Baby Yoda thing?
no, that's oh my God, that's the Pedro Pascal one. What's it called? The
The Dorian? No, no.
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, yeah. I've seen 8 of the Star Warses, but I always fall off on the ninth.
Yeah, Rogue One was in between two of them, and I keep forgetting which one it was. But
Oh
it's the
no,
one where I can't even remember it. But Alan Tudyk, who is a very good American actor, comic performer,
yeah.
voiceover, he does everything basically. Um, he played the motion capture of and voice of K2SO. And I didn't know that at the time, but I love that character so much. And I saw it and I was like, oh my God, it's K2SO. I had a mini fandom break. But the way I got out of this ticket, and this is what I put in my set, and it worked, was I went full geek mode and I just looked at
Love
this
it.
police officer and I just put my two fingers up like Obi-Wan does, and I just went, this is not the Nissan you are looking for.
Yeah.
Just like looked at me in sheer disgrace. And I was like, you will leave this young girl alone. And it just carried on with goodness knows how many more things I could think of saying. And in the end, I think I just completely freaked out or either really made this police officer very happy and he wasn't allowed to lay into it. I just kind of put his little notebook away, went, don't do it again, and just drove off. And I was
I love
like,
that.
what the force? Like,
Yeah, I have it. I mean,
yeah.
I do probably. I always think like once a year that I could do a Hadouken fireball if I really wanted to, but I've never been in such stressful enough environment to mutate that ability. Uh,
I for it. But that was that then turned into that set. And it was just, it was a moment that actually happened, which I built on a little bit
yeah.
for the sake of the show. And it worked and it got a really good reaction from the audience. And I think that was my best moment
Oh,
so far.
I love that. And I'll end it with this one, Hannah. Also,
Yeah,
what's Hannah spelt backwards?
Hannah,
Yeah, yeah. Some race car. Bob.
palindrome,
What?
a palindrome.
Oh, I thought you were going about saying that. Is that what I called?
Yeah, a
Right,
name back.
right. Like
That's
an
the
English
same
girl.
name as
Right.
palindrome.
Know all the big words. Um, Okay, if you give it, someone's never done comedy before, they're looking to get into stand up, they're nervous as shit. What advice would you give them? You can't say just do it.
Yeah, I was going to say just do it, but
Yeah, everyone says that. You can't say that.
don't think too much about it. Just do it. That's
Eh,
what.
you had a bit of fun. No, no, I'm more than that. Come on, come on. I'm squeezing the juice on this one.
Okay, I would say be prepared for the challenge. Enjoy the process. Don't think too much into it. Don't beat yourself up if it goes wrong. Use every experience and think of it as a positive, even though it may have not been. And talk to fellow comics as well. Learn from the other comics that are there, especially in open mic, because that's where you're going to start.
Yeah.
Open mic comics, they are comics that are getting gigs, paid gigs, as much as they're just coming back to doing the general open mics.
Mm,
But
yes.
they know so much. They are incredibly supportive. They will tell you about what's going on. I mean, I knew nothing about what was going on in Manchester, for example. I knew a lot about what was going on in Liverpool. I knew nothing about Manchester. And I met a comic who basically emailed me each and everything that I could go to in
Oh, that's
Manchester.
awesome.
And now I'm out in Manchester a lot of the time doing different gigs nearly
Yeah.
every single week.
Did you go
Um,
down to Stoke at all ever?
Not yet. No, not yet.
You got to do Spitfire then.
I've heard of Spitfire. I have heard of Spitfire, and I'm doing one in Preston as well
Have you
next
done Joe
month.
Parker's and something?
Something, yeah.
Yeah. I know both of the people who run that. So yeah, I mean Spitfire, Kimberly, she's my girl. Like she collaborates with me on a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you ever want to do Spitfire, just yeah, I'll get you
Yeah,
in.
I've been in touch with them a couple of weeks ago
Yeah.
and was asking them about it. And so they gave me all the information and everything, and I'm dead made up. I've got it. So as soon as I get the day free
All right.
and not plan too far ahead, I'm going to go because I've had a friend who's gone and done it as well, and he said it was really good. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love
Okay.
driving as well, so I don't mind.
Oh yeah, you need to drive in this game, don't you?
Yeah, oh God, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And if you're unemployed like me, getting your money's worth in petrol is. I was thinking quite lucky because I got a hybrid, not to like, rub it in, but it's not a plug-in hybrid. It's like it uses petrol, but it's a lot more.
efficient,
It's a lot,
cost
yeah,
efficient. Yeah.
more sufficient than my
My,
old one.
mine's awful. Like I have to go like drive to my mum's and borrow her car sometimes because my car, I said Zoe, electric Zoe, it only goes 80 miles a time,
Oh no.
and that's dog shit. So I have to drive, and I take her car if I'm going like Hastings or somewhere further than 80 miles.
Yeah, I drove from Liverpool to Edinburgh in my car on a full tank, and I had a quarter of a tank left when I got there, so I was quite made up with
Yeah,
that.
no, that's been nice. Hannah, it's been absolutely lovely having you on, and guys,
Thank
thank you ever
you.
so much for watching. Cheers, guys. Bye.